Boruto is back. The child prodigy is back. And we got a lot to unpack here. We got a lot to do. So we're going to break down the chapter by parts, just going to be analyzing, giving my general thoughts on the chapter. And then after, we're going to break it down by parts. First of all, I thought this chapter was pretty good, pretty simple. It wasn't action-packed, which is something that I appreciate because last chapters have just been jam-packed with action and have been very closely related to Konoha and just being Boruto teleporting out and in of Konoha, and it was just kind of, that was the dynamic. I can't believe we are already 16 chapters in. That was the dynamic for about 13, 14 chapters, and I appreciated the last chapter and this one are a little bit more kind of chillax, a lot more chilled out, especially this one, because the last one still had a little bit of action there. So I'm glad this one's a little bit more chillax. And what I appreciate more about Two Blue Vortex than I did about Boruto, the part one, is that Two Blue Vortex is actually feeling monthly now, which is something that I appreciate. It actually feels monthly. It actually feels like the information that we get every month is a lot. And I feel like they're really using the 40-ish pages to really flesh out the story. So that's a very big improvement that I can say I've noticed from the OG Boruto, because the OG Boruto, it really just felt like they were just overextending dialogues. Here, they talked basically about four things. They talked about Boruto's past, about how he learned the Flying Raijun. The second one is we got a little bit more of a glimpse into Sarada and Sumire's relationship and just kind of fucking romantic drama or something like that. The third part we got the third part of this chapter, we got Shikamaru kind of, you know, talking with what's her name? I've completely forgot her name. With Ada. I can't believe I forgot her name. He was talking with Ada, trying to get like some more intel, trying to get some more info because, well, you know, stuff is happening. And then the last part was just, you know, an introduction to the Sand Village and kind of getting there and the mission and the likes. So that's really good. And I really hope that they use this to actually flesh out other characters. Because, yeah, part one of Boruto, if OG Naruto was heavily lacking in characterization for side characters, I think Boruto suffers from this the most. Because in OG Naruto, at least in part one, they kind of fleshed out at least a little bit in the training exams, the other characters, and Shippuden in part two, that completely just was thrown out the window. But in Boruto, we know nothing about these guys. The only people we've focused on have been Boruto and Kawaki. And that's it. So I really appreciate that we're getting, you know, we're fleshing out some of these characters a little bit more. So that's pretty good. So let's start with the first part with the Flying Raijun with Boruto. Yeah, so Boruto doesn't know the Flying Raijun per se, so it's not entirely the Flying Raijun, which we kind of knew that it was a variant or like a type of variation because of the way that he kind of uses it. But it's not even, it's a variant, but it's not even a variant. It's kind of like almost like a completely different jutsu altogether, because Boruto doesn't even use the symbol, or the like, he doesn't even use the symbol that both Tobirama and Minato used to place on our kunai or on objects or on things. So yeah, he doesn't even have that symbol. So what he ends up doing is just he just imbues the objects with his chakra and just kind of teleports using space-time ninjutsu towards that. So it's a type of Flying Raijun, but it's a type of incomplete Flying Raijun, because I guess it's just that fucking difficult, which I really like. I appreciate that they decided to change it up a little bit and that it's not necessarily Flying Raijun, because again, that just goes to show, number one, how masterful Tobirama is, but also how much more masterful Minato is, because Minato was able to span that thing like shit. And because, you know, Kajin Koji states that Boruto found that very difficult in like his future self, because precisely for the reason that if you have two kunai and they're the same object, he would find it very difficult to kind of know where he's going to be teleported. And Minato had his like signs, his symbols, his tags on his kunai, and they were all literally the same. So that just really goes to show the mastery that this dude had over the Flying Raijun, because he can just you just spam it, and he never really, I guess, like, he never really confused himself, at least not from what we see. Of course, if they continue with the Minato one shot, then maybe we could learn more about Minato. But the dude just spammed it and just knew exactly where he was going. So that just goes to show how difficult this jutsu is to master, and also how much of a genius Minato was, and how proficient he was at using the Flying Raijun. Plus, this also gives us another variant of the jutsu, and it gives us a way to drip out Boruto, because your boy is dripped the fuck out. He has a ton of like just symbols and drip, but that's for like the purpose of the jutsu. And also, it just goes to show how much of a genius Boruto is, because he was able to come up with a solution for a lot of these things that he was lacking, and find an alternative to use the jutsu. So yeah, it's actually really, really good, and I appreciate us seeing this, because we get more lore as to how the Flying Raijun works. We get more lore as to like how, I guess, indirect lore into how great of a ninja Minato was. And it just goes to show that Boruto is a fucking prodigy, and that he has that talent. And I really like that Boruto asks Koji and Koji, like, am I a genius? So that was really interesting. And I like that, again, they're answering questions, and I like that in this chapter as well, it was answered as to why they can't tell everyone else what's happening, because like Koji and Koji says, if everybody knows, then everybody's going to try to alter the future. So the more, I guess, butterflies there are to create branches, like the more difficult it's going to be to control it. Right now, it's pretty cool that only Koji, Koji, Ada, and Boruto are the only singularities that are trying to change that future, because they can at least maneuver well enough and do things well enough to kind of steer this timeline towards the future that they want it to go. Because if everybody knows and everybody tries to do it, it's a lot more difficult to control on a massive scale. So as long as it's just them three, then the three of them can just control it at least a little bit better, and just maneuver around that change much more effectively. Again, I also appreciate the fact that Ada has been aware of this for a fucking while now. She has been watching this for a while, and she has known them, like what their plan is, for a while, and she's keeping it from Kawaki. So I'm pretty sure she kind of doesn't want to get too involved and kind of wants to see how this all plays out. But she obviously, I feel like, is kind of falling out of love for Kawaki, and she's going to end up falling for Boruto, and that's going to end up helping Boruto. The second part of this chapter was about Sumire and Sarada, and I don't really care about the romantic aspect of the manga, of any manga. Honestly, I really don't care. This whole part of Sumire and Sarada, like, especially Sumire, just like telling Sarada, like, you know, I like him. Why did you hug him? It's like, girl, like, people died. You know, the world is ending. People are being turned into trees, and there's like some really strong monsters out there. Can you like just not? Can you chill out? So I found her kind of annoying in that aspect, because it's like, dude, we got like more important things to worry about right now. So just chill out. So again, it's more like romantic drama, whatever. It's again, I don't care for it, but I do appreciate that this is serving as a pathway to kind of just flesh out these characters and give them some character, you know, and some traits. So good. Right now, Sumire's trait is that she's kind of jealous, and she potentially, if she continues like this, she might turn kind of toxic. I don't know. But yeah, like this whole thing was kind of weird, but again, I guess necessary to give these characters actual characteristics and personalities. And I do agree kind of with what Sumire was telling Sarada, because Sarada was like, we gotta go find Boruto, we gotta help him fight. It's like, girl, chill out. You guys are completely outclassed. So just chill out, let this man handle it, do what he's got to do. He knows what he's doing. Someone's helping him out. So just chill out, let him do what he's got to do. Because Sumire does bring up a pretty good point in the fact that Boruto, if he wanted to be found, he would let them find him. But he doesn't want to do that. So they have to respect those wishes, because he's doing it for something. He knows something that they both don't know. So they kind of have to steer clear from that. In that aspect, I agree with Sumire. But in the other aspect of her telling Sarada, like, why did you hug the man I love? It's like, girl, you got to get your priorities straight. You know what I mean? If you got to get your priorities, like the world is going to end and you live there. So just chill out. And then in the third part, we got a little bit more, you know, conversations between Shikamaru and Ada, and just Ada kind of telling him, like, I am not going to tell you everything, just what you need to know. And I love that conversation between Koji and Shikamaru, where Shikamaru is like, I am blindly believing you people, and I don't know if I should, but something is telling me I should. So I like the intellect of Koji and Koji mixing itself with the intellect of Shikamaru and Nara, which, again, those two together can be really, really great. And I just love that even though Shikamaru is absolutely brainwashed, he has the mental capacity to be like, yeah, what he says is making a lot of sense. So I'm going to do exactly that. Sadly, though, that is making people not trust Shikamaru, because they're starting to distrust the guy. Because the village elders, who are super elders, oh my god, I don't know how they still look the same. How much time has passed? Like, they've been around since Naruto was like 14 years old. How old are you people? Like, oh my god. So, you know what I mean? So then they're starting to kind of doubt Shikamaru, and they're kind of like, we have to, like, how the fuck did Boruto escape? So, like, they're starting to doubt Shikamaru. Konohamaru is starting to doubt Shikamaru. Mitsuki, I guess it's kind of playing along, but again, Mitsuki doesn't really have much context. He just knows that Shikamaru asked him to free Boruto, but he doesn't know further than that. So I like that this is causing Shikamaru to lose the reins of the village, in a way, of the village elders and like the village leaders, so that they kind of distrust him. So I like that little political intrigue that's kind of slowly being cooked there. I really appreciate that. I like that. And finally, the last part that they talked about in this chapter was kind of this whole exploration into the Sand Village. I was really hoping to like get to the Sand Village, to be there for a little bit and then leave towards the mission, but no, they're directly in the mission. So I mean, that's fine. I just kind of wanted a little bit world building. Naruto lacked a lot of world building, so I just kind of expected to expand the world a little bit in Boruto. Sadly, it's not possible in this chapter. Hopefully in other chapters it's possible. And I just want to have a little bit of a comment. Why does the Sand Ninja that like popped up towards the end, why does she have a thong? That's basically it. That's basically the entire chapter. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. So bye-bye.